Yeah, so this is not the type of video that I want to make. Hello again, and welcome back to Some Climbing News. Starting the show today, talking about the accusations that have been leveled against Simon Boes for lying about his ascents, particularly his ascent of deepfake 8C plus V16. So, let me take you back to the beginning. I was contacted anonymously a couple of weeks ago by a person who told me that he believed that Simon had not climbed deepfake and that the video that he had posted, Simon that is, that supposedly showed him doing so, had been very heavily edited. Now, of course, whenever something like this happens, it needs to be taken incredibly seriously. It's the sort of thing that can ruin reputations, it can incite a ton of hate, it can really, really hurt someone. So the first thing that I did was to go and take a look at the allegedly deepfake video. The video is heavily edited, like I said. It's been done so in a way that is, it's honestly really, really cool. The boulder has been put in black and white, and Simon has been left in color, making for a pretty awesome looking contrast. In addition, as Simon climbs through the moves, various, I'll call them ghosts of previous attempts, appear and fall as he's climbing. Now, the person who contacted me accused Simon of using these ghosts and intricate editing as a way to hide the fact that the video itself was not actually an uncut send. So with that in mind, I downloaded the video, threw it into Premiere, and started doing some digging. Here's what I found. The first are these occasional blurs that occur throughout the footage. These have seemingly been added in artificially, although it's perfectly possible that they are the result of a corrupted file. At the 6-minute 36-second mark, there are a few instances where the rock and background is blurred, but Simon as a subject is not. This isn't really evidence of much other than the mask that was made for the color grading, though. It does seem to be evidence that the blurs have been added in artificially. These blurs seem to happen consistently at the end of every single move. It's practically impossible to tell if they've been inserted to hide something or if they're just pure coincidence. Also notable that there are 2 frames in which Simon's body does not move, as you can see here. Then at the 6-minute 47 mark is the very clear cut. As you can see, Simon's foot jumps incredibly far from one frame to the next, and his body is completely out of position. After that is a very dramatic zoom out that marks the start of the easier 8A V11 fake Pamplemousse, where coincidentally the edits also stop. Notable, but not necessarily evidence of anything, a lack of any sort of celebration during the top out at the end. Again, I would absolutely caution against thinking that this in particular should be considered evidence for anything on its own. People have very different reactions to different things all the time, and just because it's your first of a grade or a long-standing project doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be whooping and hollering at the top of the boulder. All right, so with that said, there's zero doubts, at least for me, that the video in question is not uncut. But as we all know, a highly edited video does not necessarily mean that someone didn't actually send. The person who accused Simon of lying told me that Simon had been acting pretty suspiciously throughout his climbing career. Quoting this person directly, "The climber in question has been under scrutiny for quite some time in the Dutch climbing scene by those in the know for claiming ascents without proof. For already a couple of years now, he has been claiming hard boulder after hard boulder without ever providing any uncut footage. When asked for it, there's always an excuse. Yeah, I'll show it later. It's on my other phone. I lost the footage." Multiple rumors have been going around. For instance, there are no witnesses of the hardest ascents because he sends them away from the boulder to get into the zone and then magically sends his project when nobody's looking. All of that is honestly pretty much conjecture and hearsay, except a quick look through Simon's Instagram shows that effectively, yes, the hardest thing that's been posted as a video, as of writing this particular script and making this video, is an 8B send. Everything else that's harder, his send of In Search of Time Lost and Freerider, which are both, in theory, 8CV15, are only photos. So I contacted Simon directly in the hopes that he would help me clear his name. I asked him if he could explain the edits in his video and if he could send me any uncut raw footage. His answer was to tell me that, quote, the video was filmed handheld while the cameraman was following me and zooming throughout the climb, which resulted in quite a bit of shake and some awkward looking moments. Now, I don't think it takes a professional forensic video analyst to know that the footage in question was very clearly shot on a tripod and that the zooms that Simon's referencing were made using editing software. So I pointed this out to him and also asked if I could be put in contact with the cameraman in question. His response, and again I quote, I understand your perspective, but I don't think we're going to get very far debating frame-by-frame interpretations over Instagram. The climb was filmed by a cameraman and the ascent itself is genuine. I'm not comfortable sharing the raw footage right now. Unfortunately, I'm also not currently in contact with the cameraman, so I can't put you in touch with him. So I continued asking him a few more questions. The full transcript of my conversation with Simon is linked in the comments if anyone is curious and wants to check it out. But essentially, I asked if he had any witnesses of his ascent that he could put me in contact with, and asked again if he was saying that the footage of deepfake was uncut. He didn't really answer either of those questions and basically told me that he considered the matter closed and that he had pretty much no reason to lie about an ascent. Now, I kept reaching out to various people in the Dutch climbing scene. Many of them seemed to echo these same suspicions that Simon had not actually climbed deepfake. For obvious reasons, I will be keeping those people anonymous. All that said, I really only found one single person, who I will also not name, who sent me this message right here. To answer your question, yes, I will vouch for him. I have witnessed many of his hard ascents and 100% sure he did deepfake. He is not a person who would lie about doing the boulder. But then this person never answered again when I asked a few follow-up questions. So, I mean, yeah, man, I don't know. Here's where I'm at. I think at this point there's just not enough evidence that proves that Simon actually sent this boulder or seemingly any of the other hard boulders that he has claimed to have done. At the same time, there's also just not enough evidence to prove that he didn't actually do these boulders either. To be very fair, the guy is clearly strong enough. He's doing the moves on one of the hardest boulders in the world, barring some really well-hidden cuts, seemingly had the boulder done in 2 parts. For this reason, I've been really sort of questioning whether or not it made sense to publish this video. But ultimately, I think that the amount of suspicious behavior surrounding all of this is enough that it felt right to open up the conversation to the public and let people draw their own conclusions about this. At this point, I'm genuinely hoping that a lot of people are about to come forward with evidence for Simon's ascent, but ultimately, I don't know. I think the most important part about this whole thing is to highlight the need for having uncut raw footage of your hardest ascents if you're a pro climber, or at least witnesses if you're a pro climber in the case that something accidentally goes wrong and you lose your footage or the ability to record yourself. Genuinely, at this moment, I think that there are only like a very small handful of people who could claim an ascent with no evidence for it that people will accept without question. And there is an even smaller group of people within that subset who could claim an ascent with 0 evidence and 0 witnesses, have that ascent be questioned by someone, and yet still have the broader climbing community reject those suspicions. Unfortunately, at this point, it seems that Simon is in neither of those camps. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Does anyone out there actually have any evidence for whether or not this guy sent? Let me know. All right, well, here's another question. How do I go from kind of serious, potentially life-altering issues and situations to fun stuff like sends without giving you people total tonal whiplash? I don't know. Noah Wheeler is, and I quote from his Instagram, feeling pretty strong as of late, which is one hell of an understatement there, Noah. When I feel pretty strong, I open really heavy doors on my first try. When Noah is feeling pretty strong, he sends 2 8C plus V16s in 3 days. See, like there's levels to this shit, and I'm all the way at the freaking bottom of the barrel. All right, 2 V16s, words that were made legendary by Adam Ondra's video of his sends of Joya and Terra Nova. Now, Noah's done something similar and also totally different. Brace for the Cure, a Matt Fultz FA that adds a few moves to the ultra mega classic Jade, went down in just 2 days, according to Noah, which is kind of crazy. As I understand it, Noah tried this last summer, so it's not like he only took 2 sessions, but by all intents and purposes, he basically only took 2 sessions, let's be real. Second boulder, Creature from the Black Lagoon, also 8C plus V16, and one of the most repeated 16s in the world, with Noah taking the coveted, okay, not that coveted, somewhat coveted 17th Ascent. Creature was one of the first 16s proposed, like it was right after Terra Nova, Joya, and The Process. Pretty sure Daniel Woods got a ton of crap for not having a video to go along with his FA, somewhat poignant given the first segment of today's show, and the grade has more or less settled at a soft end 16, even though Daniel thinks it's actually a 15. As for Noah's thoughts on Brace for the Cure, he says he believes Brace to be middle of the pack 16, 13/14, so 8B slash plus Crux of Jade into a harder than Jade 8B plus V14 section. It's pretty cool stuff. Even more cool that Noah has stated he's psyched to get on some more theoretical projects in Colorado. What those projects could possibly be, I am not entirely sure. Hopefully something cool, hopefully something really, really freaking hard. We shall see. It's about damn time we get a new 9A. I don't know, I'm kind of tired of repeats. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but let's move on to little Beckett Hsin. 16 years old and on his second 16 8C plus boulder send. This dude just sent Insomniac, and the reason he sent Insomniac is because he finally got his driver's license. A fact that just completely freaking blows my mind. First of all, every boulder in Colorado should probably be terrified. Beckett just got a ton of freedom and he's about to go completely ham on absolutely everything. And I am more than for it. Drive safe, dude. Please, please drive safe. But yeah, so a little bit of info on Insomniac. This is a pretty famous Drew Ruana line. It links the Wheel of Volvo 8B plus V14 into another boulder called We Can Build You. It's supposed to be about 8B V13. The Volvo cave is pretty cool, if a little bit dabby for my personal taste. Beckett seems to have been pretty stoked on it though, because he just basically sent most of it. Dude says he's done both Wheel of Volvo and Variant, which are both around 8B plus V14, according to him. Looks like he's only got one more 8C plus V16 left in that cave. Whether he actually tries it or not is kind of a big unknown. Though I'd personally go far enough to say that I don't think he's gonna, actually try it. It seems like he's stoked to get out of the cave and go to some other stuff. So hopefully it's cool shit. I don't know. We shall see. Let's move on. And next, taking a look at Michalea Kiersch's completely insane Ticklist from Guanella Pass. Alpine bouldering is in full swing, apparently. Kind of already talked about her send of Power of Zero, which she downgraded from 8C to, in her eyes, 8B plus, and maybe even to 8B. So from 15 down to potentially 13. But I did totally miss that she also sent a whole bunch of other stuff. Most notably, perhaps Hazel Grace, 8B plus V14, her 4th of the grade if Power of Zero stays at 15. If it goes down, then Hazel Grace would be her 5th 8B plus, which is pretty freaking insane, honestly. Like, that's strong as all hell. And just, I mean, like, look at this tick list. This is like Laura Rogora levels. Like, what the hell, man? She did all this in just 2 weeks. Not normal. Gonna read them out to you. Power of Zero, 8C, V15, Hazel Grace, V14, 8B+, L'Appréhension, 8A+/12, Dulcifer, Sit, 8A+/12, Silence, 8A, Eximmer upgraded to 8A+/12, Scary Christmas, Rosa Mayalino, El Toro, Dark Seduto, and Dark Side Sit, all at 8A V11. That... Jesus, like, I'd be ultra stoked doing just one of those boulders, man. Like, what the hell? That's insanity. Anyways, yeah, congrats to Michalea. Giuliano Cameroni is apparently making a video of all of this, which will probably get put up on the Mellow channel soon. So that's going to be pretty rad. Michalea, as always, congratulations. I'm coming for your beer sponsorship, so better watch your back. Next, I want to talk about Mason Keough and his recent send of Jaws, 8A V11. Why am I talking about 8A V11? Well, Jason Keough is a paraclimber in the AU3 category. He's an amputee, guy who lost all 4 fingers on his left hand in an accident a few years ago. And now he's sent a boulder that's harder than anything that like 99% of the climbing population can climb. Wild stuff. This is the first 8A V11 to be sent by someone in the AU3 paraclimbing category. If you don't know, an AU3 paraclimber is an amputee who still has a functional wrist, but who otherwise has some sort of finger impairment. So, first 8A V11 by Mason Keough, who also has won the last 2 paraclimbing World Cups in lead. First one in Laval, France, last year, and now the recent Lead World Cup in Salt Lake City. Dude is absolutely freaking killing it. Jaws is also a wild-looking boulder. It's tall as hell. It's got a terrible landing, super heady, committing heel hook mantle at the top that he actually fell off of the go before he sent. Mason, I hope it's okay that I'm about to show this clip, but here you go.
Here you go. Come on.
Oh! No! Yeah, insane. Definitely go check out Mason's stuff. It's all linked down below as always. Go show him some love. It's awesome to see paraclimbers pushing the limits of what we think is possible in this sport. I mean, I don't know, dude. Freaking love it. Awesome stuff. Next, and yet another one of those situations where the tone needs to switch, and it's just like, I can't win. Like, we need to talk about two people who are currently not having a very good time. The first is Raffael Gruber, aka Rafi, who climbs for the Austrian national team. Rafi has expressed feeling really, really bad about his climbing. He's made a series of Instagram posts detailing all of this, stating that for the first time in his life, following some bad competition climbing performances, he's been questioning who and for what he's been competing and even climbing for. Has even mentioned feeling as though he just can't or doesn't want to do any of this anymore. Now, Rafi has mentioned that he doesn't want people's words of encouragement, their pity, stuff like that, so I will spare him all of the sort of hollow platitudes that everyone says when it comes to stuff like this. The truth is that opening up in this way, this publicly, takes a ton of courage. It's something that I will always, always, always praise. It's okay to not be okay. There's your platitude. Look, when you're young and you're good at something, it's extremely easy to allow people, and by extension yourself, to turn that thing that you're good at into your identity. Happened to me with creative writing, actually. The point is that if for whatever reason you stop finding joy in doing that thing, whether it's from a lack of success, as Rafi seems to be experiencing, or for whatever other reason, it's extremely easy for the loss of joy to be accompanied by like a full non-stop identity collapse. Chris Sharma actually commented on Rafi's post with something that I think is very much in the spirit of what I'm referring to. I'm gonna actually quote him directly. It's a lot of pressure to always feel we need to validate ourselves through our performance. It's not always easy to see, but it's important to realize that we are more than our achievements. I hope you can reconnect with the joyful side of climbing, as it's where the inspiration and strength actually comes from. And in that, he's not wrong. True words of wisdom from good old Chris Sharma. And I guess I'm just trying to bring that into a bigger, more universal thing past climbing. Point is, you're definitely more than just whatever it is that people think you're supposed to be, including yourself. And I think in that sense, I fully believe that Rafi isn't alone in feeling the way that he feels. Actually, I'd go far enough to say that he's likely very, 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 very much amongst a huge group of people who feel very similarly, including myself, who has felt that way. Anyways, I don't know, I'm not a mental health professional. If you're feeling shitty, you should probably go and see one. I hope Rafi does. I hope he continues climbing. I hope he finds a way to reconnect with the joy of it. And I hope that he knows that if he doesn't, that's also totally fine. There are millions of things to find joy in the world. Sinking a ton of time into something you don't love just because you think that you're supposed to is, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a mistake, but more ill-advised? I don't know. Except maybe golf, which is, as a concept, can just absolutely go fuck itself. Anyways, so yeah, the other person that I want to talk about who isn't doing too hot is Brooke Raboutou. She just posted a rare insight into her personal life on the gram, citing the fact that she appreciates when other people are vulnerable, just like Rafi, as her reason for doing so. Which is also exactly why I like bringing as much attention to these posts as I can, because they really do help people be honest with each other, and hopefully that helps everybody feel better in the long run. So to Brooke, I have no idea if she watches this show. I guess she probably doesn't. There's no freaking way. But to Brooke, it is just absolutely awesome that you're injured. No, I'm kidding. Jesus, no, I'm joking. It's amazing that you were demonstrating the courage to be vulnerable about what you're going through, especially for someone with as big of a reach as she has. This is the sort of thing that encourages tons of people to do the exact same thing, and it's just amazing to like see it happening. That being said, she is actually injured, which is not at all what I wanted to see. I know I like to poke fun at Brooke on this show every so often, but she is genuinely one of my favorite climbers in the world, and I have very, very dearly missed getting to watch her climb. There's just, I mean, I don't know, there's something about her technique that's just, I mean, she's so precise and powerful. It's awesome. Brooke has hurt her shoulders. She's dealing with an antero-inferior labral tear. That was painful. Thankfully, it seems that this will not require surgery, and she's got a whole team that she's working with who will be helping her get back to 100%. But in the meantime, yeah, man, injuries are terrible. The World Series season is super freaking short and like compressed, which means that even something stupid like Max Milne cutting his finger on a razor, that could literally derail everything. So I can't imagine how frustrated and sad Brooke has been feeling. I feel for her, especially given that she took a year off of comps and was just getting back and even starting to feel the spark of comp motivation again. It really, really sucks to see. But then again, I don't know, pros have a wild way of coming back like 10 times stronger after they get injured. So pretty damn sure she's going to come back at like 150% real freaking soon. At least I hope so. And I can't wait to see that happen. In the meantime, and as always, I just really want to commend her honesty and her vulnerability. This stuff is terrible to see, but it is awesome to have it be out in the open. And Brooke doing this sort of thing sets an incredible example, in my opinion, for everyone else. As, you know, as if we needed yet another thing to look up to her. Well, there we go. She delivers. Of course she does. She's awesome. And speaking of the mental side of things, Daniel Woods has just managed a send of ego death. Pretty tall 8C boulder that he believes felt more in the 8B plus V14 range to him. So, why is this a mental thing? Well, we're talking about a boulder that's relatively tall, some miles out in the middle of freaking nowhere, Alpine, Colorado, with a pretty insecure looking top out. Daniel was completely by himself when he did this thing. He was on a let's do this boulder in a day solo mission. Yeah, dude, committing to a top out like that when you're on your own with not enough pads and you're super far away from everything, that's not exactly a nothing burger of a situation, especially for Daniel, who notoriously is not great when we're talking about heights, which honestly is something I hugely look up to him for. Like, the dude is terrified, and yet he's still out there making moves. He still does his thing. He still commits, and he still sets. It's like the definition of true courage. And also, like, not for nothing, but 8C V15 in a single session is pretty freaking rad too. So massive congratulations to Daniel Woods. I mean, you know, we're not surprised that he's sent, but it's awesome to see it happen. Okay, next, and a huge congratulations to Oskar Wolff, who has just FA'd a boulder called Dreams Never End 8C V15. First of the grade for him, first of the grade in New Zealand, finally putting together a notoriously difficult and famous project in Flock Hill that was previously known as the Kingline Hunter Project. This thing's been tried by tons of people for years, I think, though I'm not super sure it showed up in one of Chris Sharma's New Zealand videos. Links are in the description to those. Highly recommend you go and check those out because they're awesome. But honestly, yeah, I'm not sure if they actually, you know, if this project actually does come out in it. I know he definitely tried it at some point, though. Chris did, I mean. Now, Oskar has been trying this boulder on and off for quite a while. He was extremely close in July of 2024, but unfortunately fell very close to the top. Basically seems like he needed almost an entire year to, like, reset and change his approach on this thing. Flock Hill is really cool. It's a bunch of awesome looking limestone boulders that just kind of jut out of the ground in really wild ways. Kind of a unique spot with some really unique aesthetics and ethics too. People are actually asked to wash chalk off the holes after they're done climbing, and it seems like it's a very seriously followed thing, which is not only completely unheard of pretty much anywhere else in the world, but honestly, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Keeps the rocks clean, lowers the chance of polishing everything. I mean, I love chalk, but it really is unfortunate to see problems like La Lágrima in Albarracín, for example. Like, that boulder is an absolute freaking travesty. Anyways, huge congratulations to Oskar for proposing the first 8C V15 boulder problem in New Zealand. Super cool to see. All right, next we've got a big tick list from David Firnenburg. Single day single day. Absolutely insane. This dude has just sent Hazel Grace, Adularia, both 8C V15 and Stairway to Heaven, both the stand and the sit, which clock in at about 8B V13 and 8B plus V14. And I mean, listen, that's some pretty serious stuff from David. Dude has sent his 4th and 5th 8C ever in a single session and added a 20th 8B plus to his Ticklist. That's a hell of a lot of 8B plus V14 boulders, man. Like, just a few years ago, that would have put him at the very top of the bouldering world. It's really awesome stuff. What an insane monster of a freaking session from David. As always, links are down in the description. Go check out his stuff. Today was a good day. And finally, last but not least, just some media recommendations that I think you guys should check out if you have not done so yet. First is Ce Bon Send of El Gran Cabron. It's China's first ever 9B, 15B. It's a beautiful line, absolutely incredible, definitely worth a watch. Always love watching Seb. The second thing, quick hit of a send from almost 3 years ago, Ciara Fabri's send of King Dakar, what is probably the hardest slab boulder in the entire world. I don't quite understand how slab, just like works in general. But yeah, if you want to know what an 8B V13 slab looks like, go check out her channel. Links are down below. But hey, of course, that was some climbing news. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch the show. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good YouTube stuff. I will see you guys by the end of the week, barring some crazy stuff getting in the way. But until then, of course, and as always, go climb some stuff.